This is Parris Island. It is here where male recruits who live east of the Mississippi River and all female recruits are transformed into Marines. Parris Island has a storied military history dating back to 1562, when a French expedition led by Jean Ribault was the first European group to attempt to colonize Parris Island. The French expedition built an outpost named Charlesfort, and Ribault left a small garrison as he returned to France for colonists and supplies. After the garrison mutinied in April of 1563, the outpost was abandoned. In 1566, the Spanish founded the settlement of Santa Elena on the island, which was the new capital of the Spanish colony of La Florida, shifting the Spanish colonization north from St. Augustine. The Spanish abandoned Santa Elena in 1587. Parris Island became home to British plantations after being purchased by Colonel Alexander Parris, treasurer of the South Carolina colony, in 1715. During and after the Civil War, the island became home to freed slaves and was a site of freedmen's schools taught by abolitionists such as Francis Gage and Clara Barton. Union forces captured Port Royal Sound in 1861, and Parris Island became a coaling station for the Navy. This function was taken up again after the war, thanks in large part to the former slave-turned-congressman Robert Smalls, who fought for the creation of a new federal military installation on the island. Marines were first stationed on Parris Island in 1891 in the form of a small security detachment headed by First Sergeant Richard Donovan. His unit was attached to the naval station, Port Royal, the forerunner of Parris Island. Donovan's unit was highly commended for preserving life and property during hurricanes and tidal waves that swept over the island in 1891 and 1893. Military buildings and homes constructed between 1891 and World War I formed the nucleus of the Parris Island Historic District. At the district center are the Commanding General's Home, a 19th-century wooden dry dock, and a turn-of-the-century gazebo, all of which are on the National Register of Historic Places. On November 1, 1915, Parris Island was officially designated a Marine Corps recruit depot, and training was continued from then on. The first Marines trained on Parris Island saw battle in the trenches of France during World War I. More than 46,000 Marines were trained for duty in World War I. During the fateful December of 1941, 5,272 recruits arrived on Parris Island, with 9,206 arriving the following month, making it necessary to add the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Recruit Training Battalions. As the war influx continued, 5 battalions were sent to New River, North Carolina to train, and the depot expanded to 13 battalions. From 1941 through 1945, the Marines trained over 200,000 recruits here, and at the time of the Japanese surrender, the depot contained more than 20,000 recruits. In 1946, Marine Corps leaders reorganized Parris Island and decided to give it a designation that would reflect its primary mission, the training of Marine Corps recruits. Thus, the world-famous Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, South Carolina, was born. About a year after the passing of the Women's Armed Services Integration Act on February 15, 1949, the Marines activated a separate command for the sole purpose of training female recruits. Later, this command was designated the 4th Recruit Training Battalion, and it now serves as the only battalion in the Corps for training female recruits. Currently, the Marines train about 19,000 recruits at Parris Island each year. Today, the primary mission of Parris Island continues to be the producing of highly disciplined, basically trained Marines. Before they stepped onto this bus, the lives led by these young men and women from different backgrounds may have had little in common. They are now leaving those lives behind for a common goal: to earn the title of United States Marine. It starts when a drill instructor steps onto the bus to welcome them to Parris Island.
Pick your hands up and look at me right now. Scream, "I sir." No, scream louder than that. From this point forward, every time I open my face, you will respond back. Do you understand? Scream louder. Now, when I tell you to, you're gonna get all your crap. Get up and get off my bus. Get on my yellow footprints. 4 recruits side by side. Do you understand? That's not screaming. "I sir." Get up. Okay, sit down. Scream louder than that. Get up. Get off my bus.
They soon realize that their lives are about to change forever. Every enlisted member of the world's finest fighting force begins their transformation on the same iconic yellow footprints. Not everyone standing here will earn the title of U.S. Marine.
The Marine Corps' success depends on teamwork. Therefore, teamwork is an essential part of your training here at Parris Island. From now on, you will train as a team. You will eat, live, sleep, and train as a team. The word "I" is no longer part of your vocabulary. Do we understand? Yes, sir!
To do so, they must pass through the most demanding recruit training in the world. Not everyone is cut out for it. Over the next 12 weeks, they will be tested more than they could have ever imagined, physically, mentally, and emotionally. The training is intense and uncompromising, but they will find parts of themselves they never knew were there. They will be broken down and rebuilt from the ground up as a disciplined, motivated, and dedicated warrior for their nation. They will be United States Marines. Within minutes of their arrival on Parris Island,
What do you have? Bring it up here. Say "I sir."
the new recruits surrender the last physical remainders of their past identity as a civilian, such as candy, snacks, cigarettes, and for the men, their hair.
Look, take the chicken off your neck and relax.
Welcome to the receiving phase. The receiving phase is made as confusing and disorienting for the recruits as possible to help distance the recruits from civilian habits and to prepare them for Marine Corps discipline.
The initial meet and greet, or when the drill instructors are introduced to the recruits, is basically a culture shock to basically have them in the mindset of what they're going to be doing here in recruit training. The recruit training is 70 training days, and there will be transitioning into those training days as Marine Corps recruits.
The Marine Corps' success depends upon teamwork. Therefore, teamwork is an essential part of training on Parris Island. It is to replace the thought of self with the thought of the team. Before training can start, each male recruit must be able to do a minimum of 2 pull-ups, and female recruits must be able to do a flexed arm hang for 12 seconds. Both are required to do 44 crunches in 2 minutes and run 1.5 miles in under 13 minutes and 30 seconds for the men, and the females have 15 minutes to cross the finish line. Recruits are advised to report to training with the ability to run much further distances at a faster pace, as the IST run is only half the distance of the 3-mile physical fitness test required of all recruits. After passing their initial strength test, Marine Corps recruit training begins with a moment these recruits will never forget. It's time to meet their drill instructors. They are the backbone of the Marine Corps, demanding perfectionists who monopolize every waking hour of the recruits' lives. Every second of every day will be spent with these drill instructors, who will mold them into Marines. They will instill in them, through their own example, the utmost levels of professionalism, teamwork, discipline, and confidence. They really do make Marines.
Get back.
The next 3 to 5 days is the period known as forming. It is nothing short of learning a new language, a new culture, a fast-paced way of life that starts with the willing obedience of every order. Recruits learn a complete new way of speaking and use language and terminology they will use throughout their entire time in the Marine Corps.
Clutch! Clutch!
The drill instructors physically, psychologically, and mentally challenge the recruits, including yelling at maximum volume and intimidation to simulate the stress of the battlefield and to elicit immediate compliance to instructions. Marine Corps recruit training is broken down into 3 basic phases. Phase 1 lasts approximately 4 weeks. Here, discipline will begin to be instilled in recruits by disorienting them and breaking them from old civilian habits and mindsets. Drill instructors begin reinforcing the mental and physical standards needed to perform under stressful situations that could be experienced in combat. The purpose of Phase 1 is to mentally and physically challenge the recruits. At this point, civilian habits are completely detrimental to training, so they are eliminated during this period through intense physical training, strict routines, discipline, and intense instruction.
It is on a debate. It is on a debate.
The process is designed to enable recruits to learn to survive in combat situations and to adapt and overcome any unexpected situation. One of the principal ideals learned during this period is that recruits are not to think of themselves as individuals. They are not permitted to use the first-person pronoun, I. Instead, recruits refer to themselves as this recruit, and all tasks are designed with teamwork in mind. Recruits are expected to conform to a standard that does not tolerate personal eccentricities. It is a fast-paced, intense period in the transformation of civilian to Marine. Close order drill is an important factor in recruit training and begins from their first formation on the yellow footprints. In the first phase, they learn all of the basic commands and movements, memorizing the timing through the use of cadence that helps synchronize a recruit's movements with the rest of his or her platoon. During Phase 1, recruits learn that their civilian bodies aren't good enough. Phase 1 training focuses on turning their civilian bodies into the bodies of Marines. This is done through a rigorous routine of endurance and resistance exercises. Running will build their cardiovascular endurance, and events like the circuit course will build muscle strength and stamina to forge them into the best shape of their lives. They are going to need it for the trials they face ahead. Recruits quickly learn that the Marine Corps demands the maximum effort in everything they do. And in case they ever forget, they receive attitude adjustments through IT, incentive training. Pugil Sticks 1 introduces the recruit's first real chance to show some aggression. Pugil sticks are heavily padded poles recruits spar with to simulate rifle and bayonet combat. These weapons are an effective and safe way for recruits to develop the intensity, confidence, and combat techniques of a Marine. They will learn how to outmaneuver and overpower an opponent. For most recruits, Pugil Sticks training is the first physical combat they have ever experienced. Driven by the philosophy of one mind, any weapon, the Marine Corps Martial Arts Program, MCMAP, combines some of the most effective unarmed techniques from various martial arts with armed techniques designed for combat. During their time in the Corps, Marines can advance through 5 colored belt levels. MCMAP stresses physical, mental, and character disciplines. Marines study martial arts culture and history to hone their minds. They maintain optimal fitness through extensive combat conditioning and practice of new skills. More importantly, MCMAP reinforces the moral values Marines count on to execute their battlefield objectives as ethical warriors. During Week 3, recruits are introduced to the Confidence Course. During the 2 rounds of the Confidence Course, recruits will face 11 unique challenges, each more demanding than the one before. Recruits will first complete the course individually, and then in 4-man fire teams, adding teamwork to the physical challenge. The course increases recruits' physical strength, and as the name implies, confidence. Week 3 concludes when the recruits receive their first inspection by their senior drill instructor.
For the senior drill instructor inspection, the thing that I like to see the most from recruits is them to have confidence and bearing when somebody's standing in front of them.
Here, they will be tested on their training and academics to see how they respond under the pressure of an inspection. They will face many more of them throughout their time in the Marine Corps. There is a lot more to being a Marine than being a fierce warrior. The Marine Corps provides a strong emphasis on morals and integrity. Once a week, a core values class is given by the senior drill instructor. Week 4 brings basic water survival training, also known as swim qual.
The most common difficulty that we see here at the combat training tank is the recruits actually swimming with the gear that we provide for them. The recruits have a previous history of swimming, but when they put on all the gear, it's a little harder for them to cope.
By definition, the Marine Corps is an amphibious assault force. Therefore, all Marine recruits are required to know how to survive in the water. Recruits receive basic water survival training at the indoor pool, which is safely conducted by specially trained instructors. Training in combat water survival develops a recruit's confidence in the water. All recruits train in the camouflage utility uniform, but those upgrading may be required to train in full combat gear, which includes a rifle, helmet, flak jacket, and pack. Recruits who have trouble in the water are given to a special group of drill instructors to help reinforce the basics, because it's pretty simple. If they don't swim, they don't become a Marine. The gas chamber is actually the chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear CBRN confidence chamber.
Now, the purpose of the gas chamber is so that the recruits become familiar with their M50 gas mask.
Blow on it, blow on it. Look, hey, look at just like that. Put it on and just blow.
So that way, when they get out to the fleet, they already have familiarization with it and they know how to properly use their mask.
The recruits learn about the M50 field protective mask, or gas mask. This exercise exposes the recruits to a simulated toxic environment by using CS gas, also known as tear gas. It is non-lethal and builds the recruits' confidence in their gear, with the understanding that the masks can save their lives. This experience gives them confidence as they now understand some of the basic protective measures that must be taken against chemical weapons or hazards. It further reinforces the understanding that Marines are a force in readiness, regardless of the circumstance.
Shoot your arm out. Do we understand?
So the
3 o'clock. Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
Go.
Aye, sir.
Go. Jump back and go.
Aye, sir.
I do see them struggle, but initially when they're getting through their C classes and their period of instructions, but when the drill instructors and the black shirts start doing the examples, they rappel several times both off the wall and the helo, then they kind of get that desire to want to do it, and they kind of lose that fear and become more confident. And later on through training, it shows.
Recruits learn rappelling, a controlled slide down a rope that prepares Marines for deployment from helicopters, for navigating difficult terrain, and for gaining access to buildings during raids. From the rappel tower, recruits learn the proper way to brake, regulate speed, and land safely. Rappelling teaches recruits technique as well as confidence and courage in a supervised environment.
You shoot it out to your side. That's how you don't friggin' fall down, Crawford. Go that way.
The first inter-platoon contest, held in the first week of the second phase, is termed Initial Drill, where the platoon and junior-most drill instructor are graded as a whole on their performance in close-order drill.
Right to the right. Right here, right here.
Every Marine a rifleman is a mantra that is central to the Marine Corps culture. Marines are united by the shared experience of the training they all endure, which is aimed at achieving proficiency as war fighters first. Everything else is secondary. This is another testament to the exceptionality of the Marine Corps, that all Marines are held to the highest of standards. This is Grass Week. The recruits spend time practicing their firing positions, also called snapping in. During Grass Week, a strong emphasis is placed upon firing positions, firing procedures, and safety requirements. It's firing week. The recruits are awakened early in the morning to prepare the rifle range for firing. Half of the platoons will fire at 200, 300, and 500 yards in the standing, sitting, kneeling, and prone positions. The other half will mark targets in the pits. Friday of that week is qualification day, where recruits must qualify with a minimum score in order to earn a marksmanship badge and continue training. The Marines are the only branch of the United States Armed Forces that require the 500-yard line qualification. After the rifle range, recruits are assigned to a week of maintenance duties known as Team Week. During this week, recruits will be able to revisit previous instruction and retake tests. Recruits that need to have medical or dental needs addressed, such as the extraction of wisdom teeth, have those procedures done here so that recovery time impacts training as little as possible. Phase 3 is essentially the polishing of the recruits, where their skills and knowledge are honed and tested. Phase 3 begins with Table 2 firing, where recruits learn to fire their rifle under more realistic combat conditions, such as unknown distances, at night, and wearing a gas mask. During Basic Warrior Training, or BWT, recruits learn the fundamentals of combat. They sleep in the field and eat MREs. Skills taught include camouflage, low crawling, land navigation, basic squad tactics, rappelling, and other foundations of military skills. Training Day 63, the Crucible. The recruits are awakened at 2 a.m. to prepare for their hike to the Crucible. They are only 54 hours away from becoming Marines, but they will be the most difficult 54 hours of their lives. The Crucible is the defining moment of recruit training. For most, the Crucible will be the first time they reach the limits of their mental, physical, and emotional endurance. They will know that they are capable of much more than they previously believed. The young men and women leaving for the Crucible exit the squad bay for the last time as recruits. They will return as United States Marines. The Crucible is 54 hours of intense, physically demanding training under conditions of sleep and food deprivation. During this time, recruits will be forged in the furnace of shared hardship and tough training that is the time-tried and battle-proven trademark of Marine Corps recruit training. There will be night forced marches, a tough night infiltration movement, a combat resupply event, a casualty evacuation drill, and combat field firing. Here, you can see the recruits going through a combat course with multiple obstacles and situations they could run into on the battlefield. They play the sounds of machine gun fire and explosions to simulate the combat environment. Pugil Sticks 4. Here, the bouts will start with the recruits entering simulated trenches that lead into an enclosed area that represents a machine gun nest. The bouts are controlled by a martial arts instructor that starts and stops the bouts. Each bout is stopped after a set amount of time, or when a properly executed technique is delivered to an opponent.
Get him, swing, fight back! Let go of him and fight!
How much do you weigh? 165, sir. Stand behind him!
Recruits will encounter unique obstacles, each bearing the name of a heroic Marine from the Corps' illustrious history, which can only be negotiated with teamwork. Once each obstacle is overcome, the drill instructor mentors the recruits, critiques their efforts, and retells the story of the Marine for whom the obstacle was named, bringing to light how that individual exemplified the Marine Corps' core values.
Vigorous gallantry and intrepidity in action against the enemy while serving as Weapons Platoon Sergeant, Company C, 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines, Regimental Combat Team 2. On 23 March, Gunnery Sergeant Jordan's platoon was tasked to conduct the attack north through the city on Nasiriyah to secure a critical bridgehead on the north side of the city.
Honor, courage, commitment. The Crucible is the culminating event in recruit training. And in order to become a Marine, all recruits must complete and pass the entire evaluation. Capping the already tough challenges of the previous 2 days is a 9-mile march with full packs and all of their personal equipment. It is the final event designed to see who has what it takes. At the end of the march, the recruits participate in the emblem ceremony. This is the moment when the legacy is handed down. They earn the title Marine, and the newest Marines are presented with the Marine Corps emblem, the eagle, globe, and anchor by their drill instructors.
Congratulations, Bossford.
Thank you, sir.
It's all right to cry.
Bye, sir. Good morning, sir.
The eagle, globe, and anchor is what sets Marines apart from other branches of service who delineate themselves by occupational specialty or demonstrate allegiance to a specific unit through the wearing of a patch or symbol. The only symbol Marines recognize is the eagle, globe, and anchor. Receiving the emblem signifies that the recruits have earned the title of United States Marine. They will now stand with their instructors as the nation's newest Marines.
Marines, welcome to our Corps. You are truly one of the few and the proud.
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies.
Against all enemies.
Foreign and domestic.
Foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith.
That I will bear true faith.
And allegiance to the same.
And allegiance to the same.
That I will obey the orders.
That I will obey the orders.
Of the President of the United States.
Of the President of the United States.
And the orders.
And the orders.
Of the officers appointed over me.
Of the officers appointed over me.
Regulations.
In accordance with regulations.
And Uniform Code of Military Justice.
And Uniform Code of Military Justice.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Training Day 69. Excited families line the streets and try to catch a glimpse of their Marine running by in formation. Family Day starts off with a motivational run, referred to as the Moat Run, throughout the depot. All graduating Marines run in formation while singing motivational cadence, loudly signaling successful completion of recruit training. As recruits run to the cadence of their drill instructors, parents, family members, and friends line the streets and cheer as they try to find the face of their loved one among the crowd of new Marines. After the Moat Run, the new Marines have a chance to see family and friends for the first time during On-Base Liberty. Graduation is conducted Friday in a formal ceremony and parade, attended by family and friends.
It's Kara.
Senior Consul, take charge in South Liberty.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's Family Day ceremony. Please have a safe and enjoyable Family Day with your new Marine. The music this morning is presented by the Parris Island Marine Band. The band conductor is Gunnery Sergeant Hamner. Welcome to the graduation ceremony of Company C. For the convenience of everyone attending this graduation this morning, we ask that you please remain in your seats until the ceremony is complete. Thank you for your cooperation. The graduation ceremony that you are about to see is the culmination of the recruit training process and marks the beginning of a challenging future for our new Marines. The term Devil Dog is used as a friendly reference between Marines, but the nickname has a proud history. It was first given to the Marines by German troops who fought against them at the Battle of Belleau Wood in World War I. In 1921, Major General Smedley Butler introduced the first Devil Dog as a Marine mascot. Now entering the parade deck is Parris Island's own Devil Dog, Legend. Legend is an English bulldog who enlisted in the Marine Corps on the 1st of October 2011. He reported to recruit training on the 7th of October and graduated on the 4th of November. Legend's handler is Corporal Stemmeters of the Headquarters and Service Battalion. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander of Troops, Captain Culligan. The staff for today's ceremony is comprised of officers and drill instructors from the 1st Recruit Training Battalion. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. The chaplain of the 1st Recruit Training Battalion, Lieutenant Junior Grade Smith, United States Navy, will deliver the invocation.
Ladies and gentlemen, spiritual development plays an important part in the making of a United States Marine. With that in mind, this prayer was written for the Marines of Company C. Let us pray. Oh God, as we gather together today, we thank you for giving us the courage, strength, and patience necessary to accomplish the goal of becoming United States Marines. Working through our cultural diversity and mixture of personalities, you forged us together into a team. We thank you, O Lord, for being with us through the physical, emotional, and spiritual trials of training. You have blessed us with loving families and friends who have supported us while we were here. Thank you for bringing them safely to share this special moment with us. We pray that you will continue to watch over them and us, both now and forever. In your most holy name we pray. Amen.
The adjutant for today's ceremony is Captain Jones. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove all hats for the march on of the colors and the playing of our national anthem. Thank you. Please be seated. The adjutant now presents the command to the commander of troops, indicating that the parade is formed. Throughout our nation's history, millions of men and women have earned the title United States Marine. In keeping with the slogan, once a Marine, always a Marine, we would like to recognize them. We ask that all men and women in the audience who have served in the United States Marine Corps, please rise. Please join us in showing our appreciation for their dedication to service to Corps and country. Thank you. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the commanding officer of the 1st Recruit Training Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Garland.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Commanding General, Brigadier General Reynolds, I would like to welcome you to the Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, and the graduation ceremony of Company C. Today's ceremony is about recognizing these Marines in formation and what they have accomplished in order to get here today. Over the past 12 weeks, they have been tested mentally, morally, and physically in events such as marksmanship, martial arts, water survival, and academics. Their final test was the Crucible, a defining event that required teamwork and endurance that lasted for more than 2 days with little sleep. Throughout, they learned the importance of our core values of honor, courage, and commitment. Today, these Marines stand here, joining a long line of patriotic men and women that have earned the title United States Marine. And they've not gotten here alone. The development of their character, values, and patriotism started with you. You built the foundation, placing them on a long and sometimes difficult, but very rewarding journey to this day. The encouragement of parents, family, and friends enabled them to complete recruit training, and your continued support will help them as Marines. And these Marines were also assisted by their recruiters. Our recruiters work long hours in hometowns just like yours, searching for the best qualified applicant. It was the recruiter, a dedicated professional, who saw the potential in these men and convinced them to take on the challenge of becoming a United States Marine. We thank them for their service. And finally, to our drill instructors and their families. This legendary group of highly professional Marines have dedicated themselves into transforming these recruits into the Marines that stand before you today. Look at them, strong, rigid, and disciplined. Every day, they set the example while instilling our core values. The impact of these drill instructors will be etched in the memory of these Marines forever. Please join me in a round of applause for our drill instructors and their families. Now, if you'll excuse me for a minute while I address our new Marines. Good morning, Marines. Good morning, sir. Congratulations on your tremendous achievements over the past 12 weeks and earning the title of United States Marine. Today it's about you, your families, and what you have accomplished. Know that after today, it's no longer about you. It's about the people sitting in the stands and the nation with whom we serve. It's about the Marines that have gone before you, the Marines standing next to you, and the Marines with whom you've yet to serve. And it's about our core values of honor, courage, and commitment. Remember this, Marines, and you will do well. Congratulations again, Marines, on your tremendous achievements. My final wish to you is fair winds, following seas, and to remain semper fidelis. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our Corps' newest Marines and the future of our Marine Corps. Thank you.
Reviewing today's graduation ceremony is Colonel Lex A. Brown. He's being escorted by Colonel Haas, Commanding Officer, Recruit Training Regiment, Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, South Carolina. Colonel Brown graduated from Portland State University. He was commissioned as Second Lieutenant in the Marine Corps. Second Lieutenant Brown graduated from the basic school as an honor graduate in April 1990 and attended the primary flight training in Pensacola, Florida. He was designated as a naval aviator in June 1992 and reported to Marine Fighter Attack Squadron 101 in El Toro, California for replacement aircrew training in the FA-18 Hornet. In May 1993, First Lieutenant Brown reported to MAG 31, Beaufort, South Carolina, and was assigned to Marine All-Weather Fighter Attack Squadron 533. He served as the Hawk Schedules Officer, Embark Officer, and Logistics Officer. He also completed 2 6-month deployments to Italy in support of Operation Deny Flight and Deliberate Force. He graduated with honors in May of 1997 from Amphibious Warfare School. He reported to Marine All-Weather Fighter Attack Squadron 332, where he served as the Pilot Training Officer, Assistant Operations Officer, Assistant Maintenance Officer, and Operations Officer. He completed a combat tour to Tazar, Hungary, in support of NATO Operation Allied Force, and logged the first Advanced Tactical Air Reconnaissance Systems flights over Kosovo. In 2000, Major Brown reported to Quantico, Virginia to attend Marine Corps Command at Staff College. He completed his master's degree in military studies and graduated in June 2001. He was assigned to the Aviation Weapons System Requirements Branch, Headquarters, United States Marine Corps Aviation at the Pentagon. While serving in this billet, Major Brown acted as the Marine Corps Requirements Officer for Joint Strike Fighter Program. In September 2004, Major Brown reported to 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing, Cherry Point, North Carolina. He then deployed with the 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing to Al Asad Air Base. From February 2005, he served at the Wing Staff in Tactical Air Command Center supporting the 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force during Operation Iraqi Freedom. In September 2004, Lieutenant Colonel Brown assumed command of the Marine All-Weather Fighter Attack Squadron 224 at MCAS Beaufort, South Carolina in November 2007 and reported to MAG 31 as the OIC of Marine Aviation Training System Site. Colonel Brown's personal decorations include the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, Meritorious Service Medal, the Air Medal, the Air Medal Strike Flight, the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal, 1998 MAG 31 Alfred A. Cunningham Award, and the 2000 General Holland M. Smith Award. The Commander of Troops now presents the command for inspection and reviewing officer and senior escort. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the retirement of the colors. The new Marines carrying the platoon guidons have been selected as the honor graduates for their platoons. They will now retire their guidons.
Personnel, to the
The platoon guidons that are about to be retired have been the identification flags for each platoon throughout recruit training. To each, the guidon is a symbol of spirit, dedication, teamwork, and unit identity. Lieutenant Colonel Garland, the commanding officer of the 1st Recruit Training Battalion, will present the High PFT and Honor Graduate Awards. He is accompanied by Sergeant Major Moffett, the 1st Recruit Training Battalion Sergeant Major. We would like to thank the Marine Corps Association for providing the awards today. Please hold your applause until after all awards have been presented.
Morning, sir. Personnel will be awarded all present.
The most physically fit Marine of Company C with a combined PFT and CFT score of 600 points out of a possible 600 points is Private Sweeney of Platoon 1094. The Company C honor graduate is PFC Upton of Platoon 1088 from Anthony, Florida. PFC Upton was recruited by Staff Sergeant Leddit. The honor graduate for Platoon 1090 is PFC Brandon from Danville, Virginia. PFC Brandon was recruited by Sergeant Yan. The honor graduate for Platoon 1092 is PFC Richard from Versailles, Ohio. PFC Richard was recruited by Staff Sergeant Delarius. The honor graduate for Platoon 1093 is PFC Foster from Kettering, Ohio. PFC Foster was recruited by Sergeant Crouch. The honor graduate for Platoon 1094 is PFC Burner from Greenfield, Ohio. PFC Burner was recruited by Sergeant Wiedike. The honor graduate from Platoon 1094 is PFC Burner from Greenfield, Ohio. PFC Burner was recruited by Sergeant Wiedike. Marching onto the parade ground is the combat marksmanship instructor of Platoon 1092. The high shooter of Company C, with a score of 334 points out of a possible 350 points, is Private Dobson. Presenting the award today is the combat marksmanship instructor responsible for instilling the knowledge and proficiency of the company high shooter. He is Sergeant Sosa. Ladies and gentlemen, the distinguished graduates of Company C. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the Marine's hymn and the final dismissal. Ladies and gentlemen, the First Sergeant of Company C, First Sergeant Goodrow.
Dismiss your platoon!
The senior drill instructors will now dismiss their platoons. This is the last and probably the most welcome order the new Marines receive from their senior drill instructors.